All right. Let's talk about the 7 rituals for relationships that last. This is something that a lot of people don't pay attention. So, again, there's a reason why we started the platform in the first place. Let's not forget that. Okay, we'll catch crews and do all this kind of stuff, and talk about the trendy topics. We'll extract lessons from the trendy topics. But I want to make sure that we're not losing focus of why we're here, which is to help as many people as possible to improve their life and their relationships. So that's what we come here to do. We talk about relationships. We basically talk about relationships, extract lessons from trendy topics, from a self-power, social seduction, attraction, emotional intelligence standpoint. That's what we come here to do. So without any further ado, I want to talk about the seven. I want to share 7 rituals for relationships that last. Why are we talking about rituals? Well, we're talking about rituals. We should talk about rituals. Okay, so I'm gonna do some quick countdown. I'm getting a lot of questions these days in the DMs. You can DM me questions. You can go to you can search Man of Prestige on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course here. But you can DM me. I check the Instagram DM from time to time, so you can DM me over there. So some of your questions I answer as much as I can, but some of them are giving birth to some of these questions. Okay. All right. So with that being said, 7 rituals for relationships that last. Let's use this to warm up. We do have a big show today. Number 7 of 7 rituals. All right. 7 of 7 rituals. This one right here, you can't skip it. This one right here, you skip it, you collect in your relationship. Active listening. Okay, active listening. What is active listening? I'll just do like a quick summary because I want to just fly through the list, right? Chidima, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. All right, 7 of 7 rituals. Active listening. There is listening. There is listening. I'm hearing you. I hear you, and you're wrong. Right? There's that listening, but there's also active listening, which is you're not just hearing what the person is saying, but you are actively trying to understand where they're coming from. This is going to have to be a ritual. Yes, ritual. Chidima, it's going to have to be a ritual. If it's not a ritual, you go collect. It has to be something you're obsessed with. Obsessed, not obsessed, but obsessed, right? What I mean by obsessed is that you have to be intentional about active listening. Okay, you have to be very intentional about active listening when it comes to your relationship. You have to spend most of the time in your communication or communications listening and actively listening, trying to understand. Now, this is not natural. Okay, this is not natural for any one of us. Most of us, we already have an idea of what we want to say. We have preconceived notions. We have biases. We feel how we feel, and we want to attack every conversation from that standpoint. And then we turn around, especially Nigerian woke people, and then call it communication. You're wrong. That is not communication. That is just talking. You're a talkative, and you're probably going to talk your relationship into a hole. You need to spend most of the time listening. You're going to naturally not listen. You have to be intentional about listening to understand where the other person is coming from. That means a lot of time you just be like, so you're saying, okay, so let me get this straight. Let me review what you just said to me. Just make sure I understand, right? There's no way you're having conversations that way that you're not going to have a productive, effective communication. But most people, what they're doing is they just want to be heard. And what do you do with that information? You need to understand that your partner just wants to be heard. So give them some listening ear, because they probably don't get that a lot. So you do the listening. Okay? Gentlemen, if she's doing most of the listening for you, it's not sustainable. You go collect. Okay? I just want you to know that up front. She can try small, but after a while, she goes start the ask like, is this one a man? And then you be like, well, this woman, like, no. You're creating the result you're creating. It is up to you. Chidima says, make it a commitment and habit with dedication. Yes, make it just be anal about it. Like, just say, because again, your natural behavior, being a normal human being will kick in. You, like everybody else, just want to be heard. Okay, take your focus and put it a little bit on understanding that the other person wants to be heard, and if you give more of that to them, you probably most likely will de-escalate a lot of things. So that's that right there. So the first, and we're counting down 7 of 7 rituals for relationships that last is active listening. All right, the sixth is the sixth of 7 rituals is active giving. Active giving, not give and take. I'm sorry. I know you've heard that so many times. Give and take. This is a give and take. After all, this is supposed to be a give and take. Is it working? It is not working. Okay, not that give and take don't work itself. The idea of you repeating it to yourself and you're confused and you're arguing with your destiny and you're saying that's what it's supposed to be, it is not working. Take all your focus away from taking, or the idea of give and take, and keep it on actively giving. What does actively giving look like? You go into relationships to give, period, point blank. If you can't give, leave the relationship. You go into a relationship to give. If you cannot give, you're better off leaving the relationship. Okay? And the number one question that I get a lot here, this is a very, very common question. People might say, what about, if I keep giving and giving and giving and this person never seems to reciprocate? This is a good question here. It's like she's thinking about what I'm thinking. Ola, are you saying actively giving is sacrifice over reciprocity, aka managing your expectation? No, is actively giving is almost impossible that you will not receive. It's highly possible that you will not receive anything when you're obsessed with the ideology of give and take. There's an increased, heightened chances that you will receive 10,000 times folds when you focus on giving. Now, let's slow down. Again, you just asked the question, but the way I normally get the question is that, what if you keep giving and giving and giving, and the other person never seems to realize that you too, you're a human being? Great, give to yourself. Refocus all that energy back on giving to yourself. You thought about buying him a shoe on Amazon yesterday, buy it for yourself until things readjust. Okay? So yes, it is connected to managing your expectations, but oftentimes you might find yourself in a funk, like every relationships will find themselves there, and it just seems like you're the only one that's always giving to this other person. In that space, you are probably off your base, and you probably have unrealistic expectations, and maybe it's not off, but clearly you're not getting the result you're looking for. Refocus all that energy back on yourself, on giving to yourself. Okay, so that way you don't have to worry about. And remember, people mimic the way you treat yourself. They mimic the level of self-love, self-respect, self-esteem you have for yourself. So if you're giving to yourself, they usually just want to be a part of that equation. They want to give to you. So it's a matter of leverage, right? Like your point of leverage is not the ideology of give and take. The after outcome, after result of what you're looking for is, you're talking about what it looks like. It is give and take, right? When you see two partners and they're having a good time, you're talking about the outcome, right? But that's not the leverage. That's not the lever you put to create that. The lever you put to create that is to focus on giving. Because usually when people are complaining about give and take and they're saying give and take, their focus already shifted all the way. Actually, what they're talking about is taking. That's what they're talking about, okay? Yeah, right. So they're like, no, it's time for me to take. I know, but clearly that's not what the reality is, right? So give. You can't give to them. You hate them that much. Give to yourself. Focus on giving, actively giving. All right. So now ritual number 5. Ritual number 5. You took it right out of my mouth. Managing your expectations. What does that look like? There's actually like 2 very simple steps to managing your expectations. Okay. Manage your expectations and give your partner the freedom to express their expectations. Those are the 2 steps contained in managing your expectations, or manage expectations rather, right? Manage expectations means you manage your expectations, your own personal expectations. So that means you don't try to remove your expectations. You're a human being like the rest of us. So you don't remove your expectations because you can't. You have expectations. You're a human being, right? But manage it, right? And give your partner, focus on giving your partner the freedom to express their expectations. Expressing their expectations does not mean you have to fulfill them. You can't anyway. You cannot fulfill all of their expectations anyway, right? So, but when you allow them and you give them the freedom, the environment, and it feels conducive, it feels secure, safe enough for them to express their expectation, really, for the most part, what they're looking for is a safe space where they can feel free to. That's all they're looking for. They're not expecting you to buy them a mansion tomorrow by force. They just want to feel free to be able to express whatever that is. And we could be talking about something that's completely emotional in nature, right? They feel like they should be a partner in a relationship. Like, yeah, that's fantastic. Of course you should be a partner in a relationship. You know what most Indomie generation men are doing? They say, how can you be a partner in a relationship? Like, okay, now she would never tell you, okay? And by the way, she's still actively looking to be a partner, and she doesn't see you as a leader because you don't know how to make her feel safe and space. The same thing is true for ladies, right? Ladies, you say, oh, I want a man to be able to speak his mind. I want a man to be able to speak his mind. But then you talk, every time he speaks his mind, you're like, but you're not taking the time to even hear where it's coming from. Well, I'm the man. In fact, let me see. There's a video that I might be able to play as an example here. I'll give him the proper credits due. He made a good example of this, but I don't want to butcher the example. I want to see if I saved it. I always forget his name. He has a very funny name like that on Instagram. It's a guy that I've seen his video across Instagram a little bit. Let me see if I can find it, because this would be a good example at this point. Let me see. Jesus help me. I hope I saved it. Let's see. Did I save it? Did I save this video? His name starts with SH something something. Nigerian guy is always giving relationship advice on Instagram. Anybody know who I'm talking about? It starts with SH, and there's a P in the name, something like that. Let me see. Let me see if I can search. SH. I think it starts with SH. I'm not sure. SH. I don't remember. I thought I saved it. Jesus. Anyway, let's leave it alone. Let me just make the point. The point is that manage your expectations and give your partner the freedom to express their expectation. All right. If you do that, and you make it a ritual, you will create a very harmonious relationship. It will inevitably continue to grow and grow and grow. Everybody will feel safe, and everywhere else will feel dangerous to them. Everywhere else outside of being with you will feel dangerous to them, because everybody else is doing opposite. They have expectations. You're supposed to. Anyway, Chidima says, when a man speaks his mind, he is then called a simp by men and a narcissist by women. Sometimes men just can't win. Yeah. So he wants to, ideally, he should feel safer to be himself around you. That doesn't mean if you start to cross the line of you not feeling safe, then obviously something's got to give. If something has to give, then I personally prefer, because of our social construct, that is a man. Because that's the job of man, to give. He sows seeds and he reaps what he sows. That's the nature of a man. He carries the seeds. But that is not an absolute. There are times that he's not in that space where he can be a man all the time. You don't want him to run to his mama in that moment. That's not what you want, right? So manage your expectations. Give your partner the freedom to express their expectations. Do me a favor. Hit that like button as you're coming in. If you're just coming in, we're just warming up. We do have a lot of stuff to cover today. I want to get this out of the way so that we're not missing out on the lessons we need to learn as we go. All right, so let me see here. Do me a favor. I was saying, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications as you're coming in. Ritual number 4 of 7. Okay, we're counting down the rituals for if you want a relationship that will last the test of time. Ritual, this is what we're talking about. Seven rituals for relationship that last is what we're talking about. We already covered number 7 of 7 rituals, active listening, and then we cover the 6th of 7 rituals, which is active giving. Okay, which means stop repeating give and take to yourself. It's probably bad at that moment already, but give. Actually, you go into relationship to give. And then if you want to understand the full context of that, you might have to rewind the video later on. Number 5 is 5 of 7 rituals is managing your expectations. We're counting down, and right now we're at the 4th of 7 rituals, adaptive sexual polarity. Okay, people say, well, you should test it before you get into it. No, you don't necessarily need to test it. You just have to be open-minded for a lifetime of growth together. Okay, that's actually the wrong mindset. Oh no, you should not touch it at all before you get. That's also the wrong mindset, because you're probably setting yourself up for failure. That is not the guarantee of anything either. Okay, the sweet spot is always somewhere in between. Okay, you can do whatever you want to do for yourself, for your faith, based on your personal belief. You want to be a virgin, you want to hold yourself, sure, all of that is good. But the key thing here is adaptive sexual polarity. Polarity. You need to be open to changes. You need to be open to evolution. Okay, hopefully not devolution. Right? You need to be open to exploring and discovering more as time goes on. This is a ritual. This is not something you stop because you've had a baby. If she's had a baby, it's time, gentlemen, to step up your game and be willing to give. Focus on giving always anyway. Well, it's an opportunity to give. If she just had a baby and she's trying to rediscover her body back, that's all part of it. Since you were prepared for that, you knew this was going to happen. Maybe in a different form. Maybe it's not because of a baby. Maybe because she was upset. Maybe because he's upset. Maybe because, whatever, adaptive sexual polarity. You need to understand that this is a moving thing, it's a moving target. It's not something you can just say, this is how it works. That's how our forefathers did it. If you have that mindset, you go collect, okay? It will get watered down. It will be dry, sorry. It will just be dry. Nothing going to happen. And you come back here and you say a woman is weaponizing sex against you. And I will look at you and say, and then there will be a woman in the chat that says, it's true, some people weaponize it. And I was like, okay, let's keep it moving. Number 3 of 7 rituals for lasting relationships is organic friendship. Organic friendship. This is not something you can force. The only thing you can do with this is to make sure that whoever you're dating from the get-go, that you guys kind of have a friendship. A lot of things are going to fall apart over time. They'll fall apart, but if you don't have organic friendship, it can be permanent. If you have organic friendship, anything that falls apart is temporary. Anything that falls apart is temporary. A lot of this is mindset based. These are not things you can use overly obsessed pragmatics to determine. This stuff is spiritual, okay? A lot of it is mindset. A lot of it has to do with a connection beyond the obvious, okay? So organic friendship is basically something you find yourself falling back on a lot when things fall apart. And then you find out that, oh, it's temporary. Oh, we can rekindle things. We are friends, And if you have collected woto in these internet streets, okay, in this Indomie generation, you've collected breakfast a few times. If you have, you might find yourself disagreeing with this. We say things like, oh, I don't want to be friends with my partner because you've had a controlling partner in the past. So you don't want that kind of obsessive. That's not what we're talking about. Please go back to the books, okay? You need organic friendship. In the first place, what it means is that it's not forced, okay? And if you're somebody that you're not friends with them, everything else will feel safer for you, okay? And then you might end up doing things you're not supposed to do that would kill your relationship. All right, so that's the third of 7 rituals for lasting relationship. The second of running 7 rituals for lasting relationship is self-improvement. Self. Remember, we attack things from a self standpoint. We don't really worry about anything else outside of what you can control. Okay, everybody else do that. We don't do that. With the Prestige family, we don't do that. We focus on what you can control, even including backing off of a relationship. Sometimes you find yourself in a situation you have to back off. You have to leave it alone for a while, temporarily, maybe permanently, right? That's all part of things you can control. They're easier said than done, nonetheless. Sometimes it's going to take some bravery, right? Some courage to make the move that you need to move. They need to make for self, because obviously there are vested interest. It's not always clear, but self-improvement, so you can keep working on your self-esteem, your self-respect level, and your self-love, because people will mimic the same level you have for yourself. So that's a ritual. You need to be reading at least 1 book per month. What? Yes, you need to be reading at least 1 book per month. Okay, and I'm just gonna leave that at that for now. Okay. Number one ritual of 7 rituals for lasting relationship. Number 1 is loving freely. You have to love in a way that it feels like freedom. Okay? You need to love in a way that feels like freedom. If you can't love that way, it's not love. Okay? It's probably obsession. It's probably lust. It's probably something else. It's probably, it's not. You need to love in a way that the other person feels free. They need to feel free. They need to feel like it's free will. They need to feel like, oh, I made a decision for myself. If you feel like you force them into it, could it last? It will not last. That's just what it is. Okay? And by the way, you will have enough things around you to blame. You can blame it on TV, Joshua. You can blame it on how the world is coming to an end. You can blame it on what else? The deterioration of women in society or men in society. You find something to blame it on, but really, ultimately, nobody wants to be around you if they have to love and feel like it was forced. That's not love. And this needs to be a ritual. So and loving can be broken down into so many pieces. You can start from, oh, I love you overall, to individual events and around the house and stuff like that. You just have to keep that in the back of mind. At the end of the day, I want my partner to feel like they're a part of the picture. They're a part of the game. They are part of. They want to be here. You want them to feel like they want to be here. If you want them to be here, regardless if they want it or not, you are. All right, I can't say the word. Okay. You're an abuser. That's what that is. Okay, that's what that is. If you want them to be here just because it's duty, because you said that, because somebody said that in 1960, that's abusive behavior. Stop the cap. That's obsessive. That's controlling behavior, and they might even tell you like, "You're right, baby. I need to, I do what I'm supposed to do." They will eventually resent you. Okay. Now, Chinye says, why the hell will one not want to be friends with their partners? If you don't collect before, you might just want that too. Everything is a frame of reference. If you've had a person that you used to be with and you guys were what you thought was organic friendship, but relationship shows everybody woto, right? So you get into that space and then it ends up ending completely. So what you do naturally is you interpret in your brain that if only I had some space. Maybe the person was smothering you, right? Maybe the person didn't know how to give some space, and you've connected that with the friendship, and naturally, as people come up with easy cookie cutter solutions, right? That will make them feel better short time. So they might say things like, I want a partner, I don't want a friend. They might say things like that. People say that with parenting too. They will say, I want children, I don't want friends. Like, two things can be right at the same time. You don't want children that don't feel like you're their friends. Right? But people will say things like that because it feels better short term, but long term effect is just bad. Okay, because everything else there's something that's going to be left with you long term. That's going to be the glue between the two of you. Is friendship. It's same thing with parenting. When you get to a stage when your kids are now grown and stuff, and the friendship you had with your kids is because they're not your property. They've never been your property, but it's now clear they're not your property, right? And you see a lot of Nigerians struggle with that. They call it woke. Even though their result is discombobulated. Anyway, we'll keep talking, Sha. That's the glue that keep the relationship together when the going gets tough. Exactly. My goal this year is to be doing a lot of reading. I've listened to 2 books this January already. Yes, do some extra sometimes. You listen to that book, maybe Ola launched a book. You still listen to an extra one, because that's the journey we're on. And if you think education is expensive, try ignorance, right? That's the saying, right? Well done, Chie. I used to read like I'm drinking water. I need to get back to it. Yes, including Bible. Yes. The Bible is the greatest self-development book in the world. But I think see finish don't enter Bible. People just read it like and they're sleeping and they've already seen that place before. So it's like, that kind of thing. So you need other teachers that have broken it down into different perspectives and things like that. So that's the thing. Obsidian, what's going on? Say on Boogeyman the devil. I used to read lots of novels. Anyway, let's get to the topic today. I want to know which one of these points that I have given you is your favorite. Okay, we talked about 1, which is 2, self-improvement. 1, loving freely. 3, organic friendship. We talked about this ones. Which one? Number 4 is adaptive sexual polarity. Sex is very important in long-term relationships. Unless there's something medically wrong, it's very important. Okay, at least one person expects it. They think it's important. At least one person. Okay, and that makes it important for your relationship. Managing expectations, right? And then number 6, active giving. Number 5 is managing expectations. Number 7 is active listening. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Number 7 is active listening. So you have it all right there. Let me know which one of your favorite is in all of this. The one that you maybe have not thought about. The one that really got you thinking. Let me know in the comments, in the chat area. We do have some other topics to cover. So I'll be back in about 20 seconds.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.